Touch is one of the most powerful ways to connect with a woman. In fact, without it, you can never escalate with her sexually, and you'll most likely always end up in the friend zone. The problem is most men are afraid to initiate touch, especially in this Me Too era. I get so many emails from guys telling me how they get anxious when it comes to touching a girl. They don't want to be creepy. They don't want to be offensive. They don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. That really is a good concern to have. I get that. But initiating touch and escalating is so much easier than you think. It's not creepy, and it's not wrong if done right. It will create a lot of trust and attraction. That's why, in today's video, I want to talk about the 11 places women love to be touched, and how to make sure that she's never uncomfortable with your touch. After watching this video, you will never have to be afraid to initiate touch with a woman again. There will be no doubt in your mind about what to do and what not to do. You'll find it much easier to connect with women physically and build sexual attraction. I can't speak today, so pay attention and take notes. Let's dive in. Every week, I'll give you genuine insider information about what women really want versus what they say they want. I'll show you the proven ways to improve your success with women. So please hit that subscribe button now so you can start learning what it actually takes to unlock the dating life you desire. Before I dive in, I want to share one place women love to touch: your soft, silky face. Which is why I am excited to have Tej Hanley as a sponsor. Now, I'm going to give you a bunch of places and ways to touch a woman. When you start touching a woman in these spots and those exact ways, I want you to keep note of her comfort level. For example, if you touch her waist, is she okay with that? Are there any signs of discomfort on her face? Does she squirm or move away? If there's any sign of discomfort, you gotta take it down a notch, right? It's too much for her. She's not ready for that level of touch yet. So stick to the more platonic spots to touch her, like her arms or shoulders. It's all about testing and improvising touch. See how she reacts and decide whether to stick or twist. It's very simple. You're just adjusting your touch based on her response. Women will appreciate that. And you'll appreciate it too, because you'll get feedback. Rule number 2, commit. Do you know when a touch becomes awkward or creepy? When you half-ass it. I mean, that's true in life for anything. If you seem unsure while touching a woman like this, she's gonna be unsure about you. If you think that it's wrong or bad to touch her, she's gonna assume and feel the same thing because people accept what you project. A lack of commitment shows discomfort and nervousness, so you need to commit. If you're going to touch, don't half-ass it. If you're going to touch her, touch her. If she's bothered by it, remember rule number 1 and improvise. Adjust. Lastly, rule number 3, the 3-second rule. When you touch a girl, don't linger for too long. Most forms of touch should be around 1 to 3 seconds, right? Like that. Of course, this doesn't really apply to the more sexual forms of physical contact like kissing and stuff, but when things are not that serious between the two of you in the beginning, it's best to keep your touches short and simple. 1 to 3 seconds, not more than that. That will make sure you're not coming on too strong and making her uncomfortable. Okay, that's it. As I said before, as long as you keep these 3 rules in mind, you'll be fine when touching a woman. Lock them up there. You have nothing to worry about. So with that out of the way, now let's get into where to touch, right? That's the best part. I'm gonna give you the 11 places women love to be touched, so take note of these. Actually, people like to be touched, So take note of this and remember it the next time you meet a woman. Let's start. Number 1, her hands. This is one of the safest and easiest places to initiate touch with a woman when you meet her for the first time. Look her in the eye, smile, and give her a handshake. If she says something funny or something you agree with, give her a playful high five. If you're handing her something, let your hands brush up against each other. If you want to tease her a little, you could compare hand sizes with her and make some joke about it. There's a lot you can do with hands. If you're in conversation and joking around, you can even take her hand and do a fake palm read. Just make something up. Something absurd or maybe even a little bit sexual. It can be a great way to flirt as well as a great way to initiate touch. You want that connection, that sizzle. The best part is that no one really minds being touched on the hands. Okay, if it's out of the blue, yes, but in those situations, it's great. It's a perfect way to break the barrier for touch and build physical comfort. All right, number 2, arms. At first glance, the arms might not seem like a particularly sexy body part. In fact, it can probably seem very platonic. However, studies about sexual touching have turned up some very interesting results. In one report, researchers from Aberdeen University discovered that 2/3 of women agreed to dance with a man who touched her arm while asking. Crazy, right? By contrast, men who asked without touching were only successful half the time. Touch is powerful. The study also showed that women were more likely to give their number to men who touched their arm when asking. Don't underestimate the power of touching her arm because, obviously, it's powerful. Women often do it to men when they're interested. They touch their arms. So, it may be a subtle move, but it can say and do a lot. There are plenty of ways to touch her arm as well. Maybe if you guys are joking around, you give her a playful nudge on the arm. If she's telling you a meaningful, emotional story, you can touch her arm and nod, showing that you're empathizing with her, which is great. You could even stand or sit close to her and just let your arms touch. The opportunities are endless. There's lots of things that you can do. When you get the chance, just take it. Like hands, touching on the arm is also super platonic and socially acceptable, so you don't need to worry about anything. I'm trying to drill this into your head. Don't worry. Number 3, her shoulders. This is a safe and easy spot to touch a girl, especially when things are not that serious. Touching her on the shoulder doesn't invade her private space, right? But it does give her a hint that you might be interested in her. Touching her on the shoulders could be as simple as a gentle tap to get her attention. Or, if you're out at a bar or club dancing together, you could even place a hand on her shoulder. There are lots of ways to do this. The point is that it's a nice place to touch, a safe place to touch, one you don't have to worry about. Most women will not have a problem with it, which means it's an easy way to build physical comfort. Number 4, her back. This is another fantastic place to touch a woman, and trust me, we love it. But where on her back should you touch? And where should you avoid touching? These things are very important. Well, if it's too high, she might think you just want to be friends because that's a very friend-like touch. If you go too low, she might think you're being a bit of a pervert trying to grab her ass, right? So instead, a great rule of thumb is to touch her around her shoulder blade area or a little bit lower. That's ideal. There's something so comforting and attractive about a guy putting his hand on a woman's back in that space. Maybe you're guiding her, leaning in to talk to her, or something like that. But it's going to give her butterflies. It'll make her feel like you're sheltering her and being protective. It's adorable. Number 5. Her legs. Many guys think it's inappropriate to touch a woman's legs, and yes, it can be, when done the wrong way. So how do you make sure you don't do it wrong? When things are not that serious between the two of you, avoid her inner thighs, the back of her knees, or going too close to her crotch. When you're getting to know each other, it's better to stick to a few gentle touches on her upper thighs or her knees. You can do this while sitting next to her as you talk. Or if you sit close to each other, you can even let your legs graze against each other. The thing to keep in mind is rule number 3 of touching, the 3-second rule. Don't linger too long unless she's clearly into it. The legs are not a platonic area. They're a little more flirty and sexual. So while touching her leg will give her a good sign of interest, letting it linger for too long can make her think the wrong thing unless she's showing the same interest back to you. Now, I'll move on to the spots that you can only touch when things are heating up between the two of you or when you've already started dating. If you don't know how to get to this point, meaning you don't know how to turn on the intimacy tension and escalate things with her, I've made a playlist of my YouTube videos that show you how to do this. This new playlist has some of my best videos on flirting, creating sexual tension, and escalating with her. I highly recommend you check it out after this one if those are things you struggle with. I've put the link in the description below, and it's also on my main page if you want to check it out. Back to my topic, once again, just to remind you, these are places you can touch her when things are heating up between you and you're already dating. Okay, spot number 6, her hair. This is wonderful. It's actually so cute when a guy plays with your hair or if he just kind of brushes it back or tucks it behind your ear. Amazing. Those little things make her feel so feminine and pretty. It makes her smile on the inside and think, oh, he really likes me, and now I like him too. Obviously, don't overdo it and be sure to gauge how she reacts. Some women don't love it when their hair gets messed up, especially if they've worked really hard to make it look good for you on a date. But overall, it's an extremely cute way to touch her. Okay, number 7, her waist. Studies show that women, on average, prefer a man who's confident and assertive. If you watch my channel, you've heard me say this a million times, right? Well, what you may not know is that touching her waist is actually a great way to show assertiveness, and there are so many ways you can do this. If you're standing next to her, you can put your hand on her waist. If you're hugging her, you can put your arms around her waist. If you're on the dance floor, you can grab her by the waist and give her a playful tug. Of course, when you kiss her, you can put your hands on her waist. It's so powerful, assertive, and hot. Just do it. At the same time, it's really cute as well, creating this nice mixture. It makes her feel protected and very feminine, which will obviously drive up her attraction for you. Number 8, her neck. I'm so excited about this one. The neck is a highly sensitive area for women. Most women love to be touched or kissed on the neck. It can send shivers down their spine. Just don't be too aggressive. If you hold her neck, don't put it in a death grip. If you're kissing her neck, don't get over-enthusiastic. Take it slow, be gentle and soft. It will turn her on like crazy and can be a great tool in your foreplay arsenal. Number 9, earlobes. This is my spot. This might be a little bit of a surprise for you too, but touching, kissing, or even lightly biting a woman's earlobes will increase the bliss factor for her. These delicate, soft lobes are highly sensitive, and most women thoroughly love the sensation of having a man's lips on them. You can nibble around the outside and the rest of the ear as well. But for courtesy's sake, Don't shove your tongue in her ear, it's kinda gross. This is yet another great tool for your foreplay toolbox. Stimulating her earlobes will really drive her crazy and make her eager to take things to the next level. Number 10. Her inner thighs. Touching her inner thighs without venturing into that zone will make for an excellent tease that is sure to get her revved up. Use your hands and mouth to caress and kiss the inside of her thighs, getting super close to her ultimate pleasure spot before pulling back. Trust me, you will send shivers up and down her spine, making her toes curl and leaving her begging for more. So finally, the last one on the list, number 11, the feet. There is no way to overstate the power, the seductive power, of a really good foot massage. Not only does a foot rub feel amazing, but it also lets a woman know her man truly cares about her well-being. So if you want to do it right, grab some massage oil or lotion. Don't forget to pay attention to her little toes, ankles, and the sides of her feet too. Additionally, some women really enjoy having their toes sucked, but many others find it repulsive. I'm okay with it, so you can ask about that as well and see if she's into it. If she is, it could be another way to pleasure her body, which is always a win-win, right? But anyways, that brings us to the end of our list. Now that you know 11 great spots to touch a woman, some more platonic and others highly sexual, remember that to get to the sexual stuff, you need to make sure she's ready to take things to that next level with you. Okay, so I've made an amazing video today. I hope you found it useful, and I hope that you no longer worry about touching anymore, because it is wanted. As always, I will see you again next week.